NewSpeak is set in a near-future dystopia, a bit like Black Mirror if you've seen that. Players are divided into two teams. One team will play the moderators, who are sort of like the police force. They're trying to convince the rest of the population they live in a utopia. And one team will play the dissidents. They're trying to convince the rest of the population that they live in a dystopia. Now, crucially, the population uses augmented reality eyewear to make reality seem more interesting, sort of seeing the world through customizable filters like you would on Instagram today. Moderators are trying to encourage the use of this eyewear. The dissidents are trying to hack through it and show the population the true, what the world really looks like, which is a nightmarish dystopia. The first thing you do in setup is you decide who will play as a moderator and who will play as a dissident. Refer to the table below for the number on each team for each given group size. Moderators should sit together on one side of the play area and take one mod tablet each. Then dissidents should decide whether they will use code set A or B, and then moderators should switch their tablets to the corresponding side. The dissidents should then sit opposite to the moderators. Then players collectively decide how many of the code cards they will use from the chosen code set. The suggested range of code cards to be used at each number of players is given in the table below. From the chosen code set, deal each dissident the code card for each code you're using. These cards should be left face down in a stack in front of each dissident and will be referred to later on as code card decks. Place 12 randomly drawn hack/neutral location cards from the deck in the pattern below, with the neutral side facing up so that everyone can see them. Each dissident player should take one dissident dial each, one dissident marker, and choose one dissident ID card each. Then the most decisive dissident player should secretly choose one code card from their code card deck and show it to the other dissidents while ensuring the moderators don't see it. Other dissident players should then find the matching code card in their code card deck and keep it in their hand, ensuring the information is hidden from moderators. Each round in NewSpeak is split up into 3 phases: the hack, moderation, and resolution. At the start of the hack, the first thing you do is you flip the dissident timer. Dissidents have 2 minutes to collectively identify a target location, and they do this by having a conversation with each other, utilising their common set of codes to give each other encrypted verbal clues. Dissidents are encouraged to think creatively about how to agree upon a target location and coordinate their attack without giving that location or their code away. Dissidents are encouraged to ask each other coded questions about the target location once it's been provisionally agreed upon in order to avoid miscommunication. Once the dissident timer runs out, dissidents are no longer allowed to talk. After a target location is agreed upon, or after the timer runs out, dissidents should then secretly select their target location by adjusting their dials to a number that matches the serial number on the bottom left of the location they're targeting. During this 2-minute conversation, moderators are going to be trying to decode what the dissidents are saying and predict which location they're targeting. To help them do that, they're given a moderator dashboard which contains a list of every code word and a list of every possible translation for each given code word. That tablet is dry erase, so mods can take notes directly onto it. After dissidents have individually selected which location they're targeting on their dials, mods also have 1 further minute to deduce what location they're targeting. After that minute is up, mods declare which location they believe dissidents are targeting by placing the mod timer on that location. Then, dissidents reveal to each other and the mods which location they are targeted by showing their dials. Now we're into moderation. If a majority of dissidents selected the same location on their dials, and no dissident targeted the location the mod timer is on, dissidents win the round. You flip the location the majority of dissidents met on to its hacked side, or if that location has already been flipped to its hacked side or it is on its moderator side, dissidents simply choose another neutral location and flip that to its hacked side instead. When you flip a location to a hacked side in this way, place a surveillance token on it. More on those later. If, on the other hand, one or more dissidents targeted the location the moderators declared and put their timer on, then the location is moderated instead. In the final game, this will be represented by a see-through plastic filter card placed over the top of the neutral card. In this one, we just have a separate moderated location card. If the location moderated declared is already hacked or moderated, mods choose any other neutral location in play and moderate that instead. If dissidents didn't manage to coordinate a majority, and no dissident targeted location moderators declared, then instead you get a draw result, which means the location the mod timer is on is discarded instead, unless that location is already hacked or moderated, in which case mods choose any other neutral location in the game and remove that one instead. After you've done all that, check to see if any neutral locations in play are surrounded entirely by hacked locations. If they are, then these locations are also flipped to their hacked side. Vice versa, if any neutral locations are surrounded by entirely moderated locations, they are also moderated. Now, back to surveillance tokens. During any subsequent conversation during the minute after, mods can spend a surveillance token to ask one dissident one of the following questions. Did you target a location within one space of the location the surveillance token was on? Or did you target a location within 2 spaces of the location the surveillance token was on? Or did you target a location within 3 spaces of the location the surveillance token was on? Now we're on to resolution. First thing you do in resolution is that dissidents collectively get to choose one dissident character power and activate it. These powers generally had to do with changing the code. That's the end of the round. To begin the next round, flip the dissident timer over again and begin the conversation again. Keep going until one of the following is true. Either there are more hacked locations in play than there are moderated locations plus neutral locations. If that's the case, dissidents win. Or there are more than or equal to the number of moderated locations in play than hacked locations plus neutral locations, in which case the moderators win. If dissidents win, they have successfully hacked the augmented reality the population lives in and convinced them they live in a nightmarish dystopia. If the moderators win, after a prolonged cyber war, the moderators overwhelmingly succeed in convincing the population they live in an idyllic, promiseless society.